for now. Let's get started. Lucas and Kevin, I'm going to hand it over to you guys.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. 1 second. Share. Can everyone see the screen and the presentation? Yes. So yeah, again, my name is Lucas. I'm the product manager, and today I'm going to present to you Logitech Spot. It's a bit of a deep dive. I rather go through a lot of topics, and I'm super excited. It's a modern-day sensing device specialized in presence and environmental. So what does this mean? A short video should cover the overall vision we had with Spot. Let's have a look at it. So it's a modern-day sensing device doing two things, and I would like to start with the most important one, like better occupancy. So we had a look at the offices and how we are using and what are the issues there, and Spot tries to solve one of the biggest issues with people behaving like auto check-in and auto release, just go into a meeting room. And we summarized some KPIs about utilization, and we came up with only half of the space is utilized on average day. Meeting rooms average is just about 30%, and a lot of people are booking rooms, but they don't show up. And so this is one of the main, I would say, motion we created with Spot to solve it. But what does this mean, better occupancy? Yeah,
not very impressive numbers there. So let's go through a couple different ways that we can help improve those, right?
Exactly. One thing is like workspace automation. Spot is designed that it's fully automated, so it's doing everything basically like automated. You walk into a room, and the room will be auto checked in if you are having a booking. If you don't have a booking, we auto check in. If you're reserving but you don't show up, we release the room. So all these workspace automations we are making available with Spot.
Yeah, so the Spot just knows that I entered the room, and it's a good way to get rid of those, ghost meetings, right? It just I don't have to do anything, just simply walk into the room.
That's exactly what we tried to solve.
Yes.
And the other thing around is like when you don't when you don't reserve a room, we auto book it for you. So this means the employees can really just walk into the building and capture the spaces, and with Spot we detect all these movements of your employees.
Yep, and there's no end user training or QR codes or anything. I just need to walk into the room and it's going to be booked for me. Also wanted to mention we're showing Logi booking in the photo here, but auto book and release does work with other platforms. If you're using Zoom or Teams, they can be used in parallel.
That's also correct. Let's talk a bit about how we are doing this with Spot. So as people detection was very important for us, we kind of put a lot of engineering work in there. So we're using a technology which is based on radar. Radar has a couple of advantages which I want to highlight here. Number one, it's just super precise. So think of it like if you're sitting still, we are still able to detect it. Because we are looking for micro movements when people are sitting just at their laptop and typing away.
Yeah, just to be clear, there's like no facial recognition or anything here, right? It just knows that a person is there.
That's correct. So we call it a non-invasive people detection technology. So humans do not see that there's like a sensor in it. It's beneath the coverage of Spot, and it's only trained to detect movements, no facial detection, no camera. It's basically fully GDPR compliant, or the employees do not feel disturbed by the device. It's just our silent partner sitting in a room and doing its work, how we call it internally.
Great, and a little bit different than the Rally Bar Mini in that they're actually able to count the amount of people in the room, where a Spot is just a more of a binary, right? There's somebody there or not.
That's a good call out, exactly. So Spot is able to do 1 or 0. So is someone in there or not? And we are not able to count people like we are doing with our camera systems. But it's, I think, very, very important to highlight, like when people walk in front of a room, we will be able to distinguish between who is in the room and who is walking by. I think we come with a special slide for this feature a bit later on.
Right.
Workspace automations go for us, we look at the whole picture. So we have auto check-in, we have auto release, we have removal of ghosting meetings, but obviously we're also integrating Spot into our whole ecosystem. So with Logitech View, you now see the available or occupied rooms if you're using View right at the time when you enter the building. Spot is delivering these presence measurements into Logitech View to have some kind of a real-time overview map.
And for those not familiar with View, it's a product that is driven by Sync. It runs off of a roommate and a touchscreen, and it also will work as an overlay to other scheduling solutions. Wayfinding, some people refer to it as wayfinding.
The next thing which we look at when we talk about workspace automation is like we want to integrate it into our platform, Sync. I think we have a deep dive demo afterwards. I'm super excited to show this, but I want to highlight that all the data which we capture with Spot, and especially occupancy data, will be leveraged within the Insights platform already online and accessible in Sync.
And that's good for planning, right? If I'm going to build out a 10-person room, it could cost me upwards of 25,000. I realize maybe it only had to be a 4 or 6-person room for, 2/3 of that cost. This is great for planning.
I was talking about this before, accurate detection. So we see it as a foundation that our device is doing a really, really good job at detecting people. Otherwise, this whole automation would fall apart. So one of the superpowers Logispots have is like you are able to define an occupancy zone. In the picture before, we saw Spot was installed in a smaller phone booth where people walk by. Once you install a Spot in such a small room or even in a bigger room, you can define where people should be detected. And you can do this like from a very small area, 0.5 by 0.5 meters. This is 1.6 feet, or up to 8 by 13 meters. This is like a huge room, and you have full configure. You can configure on the left side, on the right side. You can install it in asymmetric rooms as well. So you should have the full possibility in install it everywhere which you like. And with the zoning, only detect people where you really want the people to be detected, trigger automations.
And this, for anybody who's used camera zones on our Rally bars, this menu might look a little bit familiar, same concept.
And then we close it from the other end. So in the beginning I was talking about the modern day sensing device and automation, better occupancy, but we didn't stop there. So it's actually, I call it a 2-in-1 device. We've put a lot of other sensors in there. It's basically temperature, CO2, VOC, particulate matter, pressure, humidity, air change per hour. So a lot of environmentals, which we think are very, very relevant to measure. And on top of that, these are also the most important one for certification reasons. What do I mean with that? Building can be certified And in order to be able to certify a building to a certain standard, a device, a sensor needs to be certified, and Spot is exactly that. So we have full RISA Grade B certification and works with WELL certification. This translates to, if you install Spot, you will also be able to certify your building from an environmental perspective. So what does this all mean? Why are we measuring occupancy and all these environmentals? Because we think there's a lot of added value in making these data together actionable and giving you real feedback about how your buildings are performing. That's why we created 2 stories: room health. So you get an overview about how are your buildings, how are your building parks on a room level perform from a room health perspective. And we did the same from an energy perspective. So we looked at all the measurements we are doing from an environmental perspective, like temperature, location of the building, and clustered it together. And I'm fully aware that these 2 pictures, they're a bit hard to absorb. That's why I would like to give you a short live demo about what we are meaning with these 2 stories. So the occupancy story in Sync remains the same. We're just feeding in here the occupancy data from Logitech Spot. And then we created health and energy. And I would like to give you a short walkthrough about what we can do with the data capturing by Spot. So when you go to the health tab, you will have all your groups available on the left side. And we give you a health score, which is combining all the measurements which I just presented to you, like temperature, CO2, and summarize them. So you have a clear understanding how good are all your buildings and rooms performing. So this is a bit of a virtual setup here. The actual data is much worse currently in Europe, especially because it's so hot. But for a demo experience, I think it's fully enough. We give you a trend line, so you can capture how your building is performing over time. And we give you a room view, like each dot, which I'm hovering here, represents one of the rooms. And one of the super cool features is like you can filter. So this will be all groups, and I'm zooming in now on France, and it automatically loads only all the rooms or buildings or whatever we have from France. So this gives you like a comparison availability. You can switch back and forth, compare sites, buildings, and have a clear overview how you are performing. But we didn't stop there. So let's have a look what we are doing. Each dot represents a room, and I want to zoom in now on Notre Dame because he is the least performing room in my assets. I want to see what's going on there. So we are entering now the room view, and we obviously, display again the individual health score here. And we give you like a short summary, like it's in a good condition. But I think here it's really interesting. So the measurements we're taking with Spot, we're transforming in different KPIs, like time on healthy. How long was it unhealthy during the selected time period? And how long was it unhealthy while occupied? It's a very good room, so 0 and 0 minutes. We're also doing some other things. Just because in this room, 2 people fit in or 10 people fit in, it doesn't really mean that this room can actually handle from an environmental perspective 10 people. So we give you a recommended seat count. And this means like if you're having 10 people in this room, how long does it take until it will be unhealthy? So the biggest story is here, what we are going to do, we are capturing data, putting it all in sync and combining it to give valuable feedback back to our customers in terms of how long do you need a break until the room is healthy again. This is what we are doing with the health story. Obviously, we're mapping it on a calendar view. If it's occupied or not, you have a powerful, and I would say like immediate visual condition of this room. So it's really a good room we're looking at. and the raw data. You can look at all the measurements which we are taking very frequently throughout the day and really dive into the root measurements. Now this is health. It should outline immediately which rooms are good, which rooms are not so good, and what do you need to do to improve them. The same we did for energy. With energy, we are doing a bit more. So we're capturing the outside temperature based on the location of the building. We're capturing the solar radiation, like how much sun is streaming at this building. And we give you an overall view about, are you in a good energy score? It's an estimation, but we try to have another lens on a room view. Is it overcooled? Is it overheated? By how long? Are you overventilating your room? This is what we are doing in the energy story. All the parameters are here. We just measure them, capture them, and giving it back in Sync Insight to have a clear picture. Again, history view data, which you can look at the raw data from your building or the rooms and have a clear overview. So I shortly summarize health and energy. We see it as two lenses. One is focusing on the room health. How productive is it? The energy should give a guidance in how are we treating our rooms in terms of overheating, overcooling. Is it because of the sun is heating up the building, or is it because we are over ventilating the rooms? This will be available at launch as well. So this will be the short live demo.
Yeah, and Lucas, just a couple of items there. So I noticed in the New York office, every couple of days, the VOC levels shoot way up, and I realized that the cleaning crew comes in and whatever chemicals they're using. So that's obviously something you wouldn't want to be in the office while they're doing. But also, you know, CO2 level tends to make us nod off in the middle of the meeting. Temperature, right? We've all heard the story of a room's not getting booked, only gets in the corner with windows and it's too hot. So you know, Spot's going to help uncover trends like that as well.
That's completely correct. So normally CO2 will be rising when people are in it. So this has a huge influence on the environment in a room, like people breathing, people using the office, cleaning crew comes in and uses a lot of like cleaning materials. You will see spikes in VOC. If you are, I'm in the middle of Zurich, so if I'm opening up the windows, particular matter because there's a huge street outside will be rising heavily. So we are capturing all these and exactly how you summarized it, try to make sense of it from a business, from an office perspective. That's completely correct, yes.
Thanks.
So this would be the live demo, room health, room energy. And now we will proceed to integration. So when we started this project, it's a data gathering sensor. So if you're installing it on the wall, there's no camera, there's no LED visible. It just sits there. I mentioned it before, it's a silent partner on the wall, creating data. And we think it's highly valuable data. And that's why we think it needs to be integrated in as many places as possible. So Sync is Logitech Spot is designed to work, obviously, with Microsoft and Zoom, but we are also looking to integrations like AppSpace, Metrico, Smart Things, so partner integrations. And we didn't stop there. So CollabOS has a local API. So when you are installing it in a room with a tab scheduler, you can parse this right away. And also Sync has now an API which you can just subscribe to the data and integrate it even more deeper than what we are doing already in Sync.
And I'm sure as a new product, we'd be open to talking to vendors, right? If customers are using a building management software, we'd love to engage in conversation to add that to the list.
For us, exactly, that's completely right. For us, this is just a start. And we have a strong DNA. The deeper you integrate, the more valuable comes the data. So that's what we are aiming actually for. Yes. Installation. I think this is a very cool topic for me. It's designed to build, to be deployed at scale. So the whole installation and UX process was very, very important. And we wanted it to be installed everywhere, like get insights in all spaces. Is what we're aiming for. How are we doing this? So super simple to install. What you are doing when you enter a room, you find a perfect spot using the setup guide. So there are some limitations to that. As we are measuring environmentals, we need to focus a bit on where to actually install it. So I shortly go through the most important one, not behind the display because it generates a lot of heat. Not next to Windows stores or HVAC systems because they falsify the temperature readout, and avoid direct sunlight because obviously it will heat up the device itself and also falsify the measurements. For the presence, it's important that we have a huge field of view, roughly 120 degrees horizontal, 100 degree vertical, and a max zone 8 by 13 meters in depth. And obviously spots should be directed into where the people should be detected.
Yeah, this reminds me of the thermostat in my house, right? I went to put a new one in recently, and you don't want to put it too close to a window to get, the sun, or too close to a door to get the outside. So a similar concept to your the thermostat in your house.
Exactly. Once you identified it, it's really straightforward. So we have two mounting options, peel and stick. So there's a pre-deployed adhesive backing on the mounting bracket. If you want to use it, you can just remove the cover and attach the mounting bracket to the wall. Or we have a screw mounting options for a more permanent fixture, meaning there's two screws and I don't know the English name for it in the package, and
Anchor.
you can use anchor, and you can use it for the screw mounting option.
Yeah, and I like that level. It's a nice touch. We do the same thing on the Scribe product. There's nothing worse than sitting in a conference room and looking at something crooked on the wall, right?
Yeah, we stole it from there. So once you identified it, it gets really easy. So Spot is by default battery powered. This means the battery is already in the device, and in order to activate it, you need to remove a battery breaker, and it boots up immediately. Battery gives us up to 4 years of power supply for the device. We also have an option for a continuous power supply over a USB-C cable. So there's two things. Default, it's battery. If you want, you can use a USB-C cable and give it more power. The battery will then be activated in power outages or similar things. So there's no need to remove the battery if you're going with a USB-C cable.
All right, so when I heard that Spot uses a D battery, I immediately had a flashback to the 80s there with boom boxes and mag lights. But so two questions. One is it the same? Like, can I go to Walmart and get a D battery for replacement? And then time-wise, 4 years, we've all had a favorite toy ruined because leaving the batteries in, you get that corrosion. But would that happen to Spot?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So I hear this a lot. D-cell. So the format is a D-cell, so it's the exact same dimensions, but we're using a battery which is specially designed for longevity. So IoT devices which are built for 4 years or even longer require a bit more of a special battery because of the self-discharge. It's very low and you can keep it in there for tens of years. Actually, it's built for even more than 10 years, and you will not have these kind of things like leakage in the device. The trade-off is Walmart, you probably won't find it, but it's a very widely available cell which we are using. So on Amazon, you're able to reorder it with one click. It's not something very, very unique. I would say it's something between a normal D-cell alkaline type in a Walmart and a bit more specialized, designed for the application we are aiming. Longevity, low self-discharge, and especially high reliability. So the Spot is designed for, I don't know, 5-10 years in maintenance-free operation. And it should not have exactly these kind of problems which we are visualizing here.
Yeah, so D is the side, the material on the inside is what's
Yeah,
different thing.
exactly. Ultra low power. So what are we doing in order to achieve this long 4-year or battery lifetime? So Spot is like an embedded device and has lots of sensors in it. And the actual power consumption is so low, it's in the 0.1 milliwatt direction. And so what we did is like we're shutting it off all the time and repowering it on between cycles. So we call this, it's an ultra low power device, and we're putting it into deep sleep states between measurement to save power. So I think the main takeaway here is it's really engineered for being battery powered and having a super long battery lifetime and operation time. Connectivity. I think it plays into the same role of installation and how are you getting these things attached to the wall and transmitting data. So there are two things how you can deploy it, connect across the entire site. Obviously, we're leveraging all our own devices, like all Collab OS devices, like tab schedulers, Rally Bar. To summarize it, every Collab OS device which has Bluetooth will be able to pair to Logitech Spot. The most prominent is Rally Board, Rally Bar family, tab scheduler. And what we're doing there, you just press a button on Logitech Spot, you press a button on tab scheduler, you're pairing, and the connection will be deployed over Bluetooth. Everything else is done by the backend. So very fast forward, super secure, highly reliable. Now, what are we doing when you are installing it in non-Collab OS rooms, like in not the meeting rooms, on a hallway, in phone booths where no other devices are providing BLE connectivity? So Logitech Spot is able to communicate also over a LoRaWAN gateway. So think of it like a Wi-Fi router at home. It's one small device. You're installing it in your building, and it delivers connectivity across the entire site.
So the difference here is if I have a Collab OS device in the room, the Spot can Bluetooth to it, and that's what gets me into the Sync portal. If I don't, then the LoRaWAN gateway, the Spot can talk directly to that in order to get into Sync, correct?
That's completely correct. So two different communication ways, BLE, when we go over our own devices, over Logitech Collab OS devices. If they're not in range, we are providing a LoRaWAN gateway. And I think we should cover a bit more about this technology and how to install it. What is LoRaWAN? So it stands for Long Range Wide Area Network. It's quite popular within smart city applications and smart building applications. One very famous company which is using it heavily is AWS. They call it Sidewalk, but it's basically just LoRaWAN communication technology. The screenshot which I'm providing here is New York and the greater area, and all the blue areas is where AWS says they have coverage. So it's an immense, huge area which you can actually just walk around with Sidewalk-enabled devices, and you would have connectivity. What they did, they implemented it into Ring and Amazon Echo devices, and these devices act as a gateway. So LoRaWAN, what you need to take away, it's super long range, wide area network. Yeah.
And been around for a decade in the standardized form as well.
Yes, yeah, correct. I forgot
Not
that.
a new
So
technology.
yeah. So this brings me to where to install the gateway. So again, it's a small device, roughly the size of a Wi-Fi router. Nevertheless, in order to cover a lot of spaces within your building, You should go in the middle of the building if you have a high-rise building like visualized in the picture. The antenna should be perpendicular to the wall, and this gives you like the best coverage for this setup which we're showing here. To give a bit of a number, so take this with a grain of salt, like it's really a huge distance. I would say up to a kilometer. The thing is, it heavily depends on how the construction of the building was done. Is it out of wood? Is it out of concrete? Are there a lot of steel beams and so on? So what I want to say, there are some factors which play into how big the connectivity really is. Some factors from the building and also where to install it. Yeah.
It's as simple as adding, if I, have a heavy brick building cement, I would just need to add a second one if one doesn't cover it, right?
That's a good call out. So if you have one gateway in the building in the center and you're starting deploying sensors, the sensors provide connectivity feedback. And if we detect like, hey, in the upper left, in the floor, I don't know, under the ceiling, you don't have connectivity anymore, we can just add another one. Then the next gateway will just like extend the network availability for the devices. And there's no need in reconfiguration or whatever. Think of it like your mobile. When you walk with the mobile through New York City, it switches from antenna to antenna. And this is the exact same thing which will happen with the LoRaWAN network. Spot will just send out the messages, and antenna which are close to it will catch up the data and forward it to our platform.
Nice, like a mesh Wi-Fi home system. Yeah, similar concept.
How do we connect the gateway? So the gateway is a really simple thing, I would say. You need a power supply, which is in the box delivered, and an Ethernet cable connected to the corporate network. So we need two things, power, and the gateway itself, as it speaks to our backend, needs connection to the internet.
And that does remind me of a home router, right? Your home wireless router. You're going to connect it to your modem and have the wireless connection for the devices.
What we did with the gateway in order to make it really the same user experience as installing it, we're completely integrated into Sync. So once you have given it a power supply and an Ethernet connection, you can just open up Sync and go to Systems and Gateways. You look at the device, enter your gateway number, and we do everything else for you. This means once it's connected to the internet, we register it for you. You have full control over it. You can restart, you can push firmware updates or do it automatically. You can delete it. And you basically manage, it's a full managed gateway, which does not require any more, I don't know, lots of installation or custom configuration or similar things. Then I will come to the Spot offering. So it's a short overview. How are we making the data primarily available? So basic, this means like the hardware itself. Included there is partner app, presence environmental, local API, and sync device monitoring. This is like everyone can register sync, everyone can like monitor the device in sync, and the local API is available. With Sync Plus, we make all the data more or less available. We give you health insights, energy insights, occupancy insights, and this is very important. The cloud API is also integrated, meaning everything we capture is already available with Sync Plus. And with Essential and Select, we are, I would say, in a summary, handing out all the automation like auto check-in, auto release, integration into Logitech View, wayfinding, So the whole automation package comes with Essential and Select.
Yeah, Sync Plus, some people, that was actually one of our first service offerings that's been kind of on the back burner, but there it is again to support Spot.
This brings me like to the summary. Simple, smart, sustainable. This is what we've built with Logitech Spot. It should be really simple to install, super smart with what we generate, and obviously follow the sustainability guidelines on every level, with automation, with energy insights, and also the device itself follows the hardware guidelines of being produced as CO2 neutral as possible. To close it off, it's the summary page. It's a lot, and I hope we have a clear picture what we've built here, what we wanted to achieve. I don't go through every detail here. So automation based on occupancy, environmental, certified for building, translated in health and energy, and API integration and platform compatibility, installation, battery power, no need for anything. This is how I normally summarize it, what you get with Logitech Spot.
Awesome. Well, fantastic session, guys. There is a lot of questions before we go to the upcoming events. There are a lot of questions that are coming in. So let me try and summarize some of them, some of the questions, and see if you guys can answer. We did discuss a little bit about the automation capabilities of being able to auto book and unbook. And some of the questions came around like, how do you set the thresholds? If somebody goes into the room, walks in, it books the space, how do you know when to unbook the room when they're done, for instance?
So for these settings, the client can actually just go to sync and set it by himself. So there are thresholds for auto check-in, which you can define when you are going into sync and set after 1 minute, after 2 minutes, or after 5 minutes. Vice versa, it goes for auto releasing. Normally, it starts at 5 minutes and goes a bit in the other direction, to give people actually time to arrive at the meeting. So what I want to say, you are in charge of that. You are defining the rules and you apply them either for the whole corporation or on a room basis. That's how
Amazing.
I would
So
summarize it.
Yeah.
you can actually go ahead, Kevin. Go ahead.
Yeah, the same thing for after so many no-shows, who determines that? That's also an admitting setting. After so many no-shows, you can cancel that recurring event using a similar setting.
Boy, we've all experienced those ghost rooms that are booked, but nobody's sitting in them. So this is something that helps to solve those situations. A couple more questions. And I know you covered this earlier, Lucas, but somebody asked the question of what is the range pickup for the radar sensor aspect of it?
Yeah. So the maximum is, let me shortly go there because it's 8 by 8 meters. So 8 meters, what do I mean with this? So from when you look from the device perspective, you go 4 to left, 4 to right, and 13 in depth. So this gives you the maximum detection range. So with depth, we are talking all the way like when you are looking from a camera perspective, Spot is here, and depth goes up to 13 meters, and left and right, you can go up to 4 meters. Is this
Awesome.
clear? Yeah.
Yep. I think so. And it's nice to have that flexibility. I know that there were some questions about like if I have a glass wall and people are walking by and things like that. So you can actually go in and fine tune the space where you can cut out all the noise, trying to differentiate signal between noise.
I think this is exactly why what we had in mind. So in early testing, we realized, hey, the world is just not like square. like not every meeting room is just like a square room, and you can go into the middle of the room. So it lives, offices lives, and also the different room times they're living. And the ease of installation comes exactly with these kind of features. You can put it right next to a wall and just set the left handle to 0 and you block it out. So it gives you full freedom of detection zone. So yes, I double down on that feature.
Lucas and Kevin, there are some questions about other integrations of other platforms that do this something similar. I know we talked a little bit about APIs and things like that, but without divulging too much, we know what day one is going to look like from a supported platform. Just to reiterate, and maybe you can talk about this a little bit more, Kevin or Lucas, is if you do have recommendations of other platforms or use cases, how's the best way to get that feedback back into Logitech? I mean, obviously the SE team is a good conduit to be able to get those types of feature requests in. But are there other methods like our product hub feature
Yeah, wish
requests,
list.
wish lists? Yeah, I'll let you guys talk to the wish
Yeah,
list for a minute.
yeah, I think those are both good ways, right? And through your account manager, sales engineer, anybody, Logitech contact there, but also recently launched on our product hub is basically where customers can request features. We call it the wish list, and then other customers are able to vote that up, and our product team keeps a close eye on the tallies there to see which ones are bubbling to the top and tries to address them accordingly. So yeah, you're right. It is a kind of a new technology field that we're getting into here with a lot of players in it. So we'd love to hear about the ones that are coming up frequently.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a great utility. We love the wish list and a lot of good collaboration and feedback coming in and collaboration. The if you somebody's asking if you already have Logitech Select, so a lot of our customers already are bought into Logitech Select services. They already have those services. Does that mean that they can just add devices to their existing licensing?
Kevin, do you want?
Yeah, I believe it would, if you have a
Yes.
room that's covered, the spot
Yeah,
will
yeah.
be part of that room and it will come in as well. Yeah, so there'd be
No,
not other than configuration, there'd be nothing to do.
that's a clear yes. So if you already have that, you just put it in there and it's covered by the existing license. Yeah.
Awesome. And then a good question that came in, if the room is too large, we've got that, what was it, 8 meter by 8 meter kind of box. Is it possible to add two spot devices for into one room for full coverage?
So short answer, yes. At launch, it is already supported. We call this multi-sensor rooms. You can just add more and more to it. I think the one thing I want to highlight is the range of PLE devices is something between 10 and 20 meters. So this would be like where the bottleneck starts. But apart from that, you can add multiple sensors in a room, and everything works, is designed for multi-sensor rooms. So you can daisy chain them together, define a zone in the front of it, design a zone in the back of it, and you also get individual data sets for the sensors, which are combined in the room view. Short answer, yes. Longer answer, yes.
Yeah. Awesome. And what about excuse me, what about false positives? You've got a lot of people coming in and out of the rooms, especially after hours. You might have cleaning people or techs coming into the room for a couple of minutes to do something. And the room doesn't really need to be checked in those types of scenarios, maybe. I don't know if that's something that we've thought through yet, or if that's more of something that would work well on the wish list.
So I can start. I don't know if it's on the wish list yet. Hours, working hours. is on the roadmap as far as I know. So this is one way, but from a Spot perspective, we cannot distinguish, is it an employee or is it, I don't know, a facility manager after hours coming in? But on a software basis, this will be probably quite easy to deploy once working hours are up and live. Yeah, to filter these out. I think this goes the direction of the question. We don't want to count people or auto check-in when it's in the middle of the night. And these settings should be actually available.
Yeah, like the cleaning crew example, you don't want them booking the room, right?
Yeah.
Maybe not. I imagine something like working hours would be a way to work with that. And it's certainly something that we can explore. And as we start to get this more to market, we'll start to have a stronger understanding of kind of some of these edge cases. And then a question that came in is the battery level monitored by Sync? So if I have 1,000 of these deployed across my enterprise, how do I know when the battery's starting to run dry?
Yes, it is already at launch covered to have a battery life indicator available in Sync. I would say you can also set alerts once it's running low, but keep in mind, like once you're installing it, it's 4 years, so you will see probably a lot of 4 years and 3 years. We're getting very good and precise at the end of the lifetime. And a short answer, yes, we have a battery indication, which is also available to send out alerts to remind you, hey, you have 2 more months left, 2 more weeks left, and so on. It's just about the accuracy. In the beginning, it's very hard because it's very, very long time, just a full battery. And in the end, we get very precise in calculating the projections of end of life.
Excellent. Hey, there's been a lot of questions in here, Lucas and Kevin, about platforms specific. Some customers on Microsoft Teams, some are running Zoom, some are running Google. And it seems like everybody asked the same question, is like, will it work with this platform specific to their video collaboration platforms? I'll let you guys answer that.
So I would say Microsoft and Zoom, we're having at launch a very deep integration already, meaning auto check-in, auto release, and they also provide, I just make an example with Zoom, they already provide like an endpoint for the environmental data, which we address from day 0. So overall, we are more than happy to integrate as many possible providers, which makes sense. But in the end, they also need to be able to handle the data. So we started with Microsoft and Zoom as a very, very deep and thorough integration, and hopefully can add more to the list based on our customer wishes and so on.
Excellent. And here's a softball one for you. USB-C rechargeable power banks, are these supported with Spot?
I don't know if I understand the question. So if you're powering it with a power bank?
Yeah. If you plug a USB connector into the side, is it? I'm trying to interpret the question as well, but it's like if you plug it in, is it going to be? Will it? I'm assuming they have a chargeable battery in there, maybe.
Oh, okay. So in Logitech Spot, it's a not rechargeable battery. I think, okay, this is a very good call out. So not sure, I haven't tested it. What happens if you're putting in a power bank? So the straight answer is it will not load the power bank and you're not able to load the battery. This I can say for sure. The battery itself, we investigated rechargeability and so on. Rechargeable batteries, they have a huge self-discharge, and we didn't want to have charging managers running around. So haven't tested it, should not happen anything. You cannot recharge Spot.
As far as the LoRaWAN router goes, that is a Logitech branded LoRaWAN router. what if they already have LoRaWAN routers deployed across their company? Is this something that they could potentially use instead of ours, or does it have to be the Logitech branded LoRaWAN router?
So in the beginning, yes, it needs to be our gateway, because what we are doing, we're also managing, we call this the LNS, it's the LoRa network server. So we're handling all the data. We are hosting this network server within Sync, providing all the security standards, and therefore provide a seamless user experience. This doesn't mean that if you're overrun, I find it a very interesting question, if you're overrun to open it up. So short answer, at launch, you need our gateway because it's fully integrated into our LoRa network. It's not built with walls around the device. So yeah.
Excellent. And with that, we're running up against the hour here, and let's go ahead and wrap it up. Let me see if there's one.
Robert?
Oh, go ahead. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
there's a couple of things about that power bank question that may have been confusing in the questions form itself initially, but I do think that the main point of the question is, can you power it off of a USB-C battery bank? And the
Ah,
answer, and that should be absolutely.
Yes, yes, yes. Sorry, I completely misunderstood.
I misunderstood as well. So thank you for clarifying. Yeah, go ahead, Lucas.
No, you can power it. When you attach a power bank to it, the device will be operating. Yes, I misunderstood this question. Thanks for clarifying.
Yeah, appreciate that. And I know there's a few questions in there, but we are running up against the hour. And do me a favor, everybody, if you've got additional questions